cheap doesn't mean good value. Now, as the saying goes, buy cheap, buy twice. The very common misconception within the property market is that purchasing a cheap property must mean it's a better investment. Well, this could not be further from the truth. The key is to not buy cheap, but buy great value. So let's have a look at the two biggest misconceptions, which are buying cheap and buying a larger property. Take Liverpool as an example. You can purchase a 3-bedroom terraced house on the outskirts for around 100,000, say. Or you could purchase a 1-bedroom apartment in the city centre for 180,000. Well, what makes the better investment? Well, we can access both, but it will always be the city centre apartment. Why? Well, you have to first consider the facts and think logically. Firstly, the type of tenant you may attract in a house on the outskirts. I'm sure you've all heard of these nightmare tenants who are poor at paying their rent and have been evicted due to affordability. Well, these are typically found in properties on the outskirts of the cities and in the more rundown areas. Compare this to an apartment. You will have a high-paying young working professional who can afford to pay premium rent, as they do not have expenditure and commitments that come with having families. You also have to think about the wear and tear on a cheap property. You likely have costs to refurbish the property, maybe it needs a new boiler, or all these hidden costs that you just simply don't factor in. How about the wear and tear due to the tenant with a family creating more issues, such as when the children draw on the walls, or they're not taking care of the carpets, just to name a couple? How about the other option to buy cheap property, renovate and add equity? Well, despite what is all the so-called property gurus tell you to do, the answer is you will be eaten up by a builder who can outbid you on the property and save 40% on the cost of materials, as they have trade accounts, save on VAT, and more importantly, know what they're doing. If you are offered a property to renovate, you are only being offered that has been rejected by a builder. Let's not forget cheaper apartments too. You can easily go onto Rightmove and see cheaper apartments in comparison to many new builds. But again, you have to dig down into the facts. With any leasehold property in the UK, there has been a number of changes since the leasehold reform in 2022. There have been many changes around ground rent, EPC ratings, and buildings requiring external wall safety forms known as EWS1, which has since made many properties unmortgageable. This has caused many apartments to be discounted to try and attract cash buyers. The downside is that this property will never grow in value and will always be hard to sell due to the new criteria and regulations that mortgage lenders abide by. Overall, my advice is to not be blindsided by what looks to be cheap property. Dig into the nitty-gritty detail to make sure there are no surprises down the line, and to speak to one of our brokers to learn more and get their opinion on any option you are exploring.